Hi, I'm Joy the Gardener, and today I wanted to bring you a nice, simple centerpiece that you can use for the spring. What I have is yellow tulips, I have yellow roses, and some hydrangea. Now I'm going to use this as my vase, so it has sort of a birch looking thing around. I thought that would look really nice with a spring kind of theme. And instead of using floral foam, I found I had this container that I can put right inside, and I could just fill it up with water. And then I had some pussy willow. So what I did, I cut it into small pieces. This is going to be my armature. And I just had vine wire and just wired it together so you can see. And depending on how big the opening is of your vase, you can make it bigger or smaller. So I just tightened it up, and then make sure that you tie everything on the one side so that it's flat on the other side. So the flat side goes down. Now I have my water and I have some flower food in it, so I'm just going to fill up my container. And you want to make sure that you change the water every couple of days, and you can always give your flowers a fresh cut just so they'll last longer. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my hydrangeas. Now, one trick with hydrangeas, because they love water, is a florist will usually use it's a quick dip, it's called, but it usually comes in big jugs. So what I found is alum, so it's A-L-U-M. It's a pickling spice that has been used by many people, and it's a powdery substance. So when you cut your hydrangea, if you dip it into the alum, it helps the hydrangea bring in the water better than it would be without. And the hydrangeas will last longer. So I'm just going to cut my hydrangea. I usually give it an angle cut, and then I will cut it up the stem, just so when I dip it into the alum and then it goes into the water, it'll absorb more water. So I'm just going to put it into the one side. Now this particular design will be, it's sort of like a modern mass where I'm going to use 3 to 5, well, you can use, modern mass is usually 3 to 5 different kinds of flowers or plant material. I'm going to use 3 different kinds, and you want to make sure that they're not all the same shape, so it makes it more interesting. So I'm going to get one more hydrangea. And I always take the leaves off. This just broke off. So I take the leaves off so it'll last longer. So I give it a nice fresh cut, and then I cut it up, dip it into my alum, and then into my vase. Oops. So that's there. So you can see it's covering a large surface. Now I'm going to get my roses. So these are beautiful yellow roses. Yellow, I don't know, to me, I mean, I've always liked yellow, but I seem to like it more now. I think just because it makes me happy. The color is just so bright and cheery. It just is really nice. And even though a lot of us, we don't go out, we don't have people over, if you do have some flowers, especially now that our flowers maybe are going to come up in our gardens, flowers do make you feel happy. So treat yourself, make sure you get some flowers. You don't have to do any kind of design. You can just put them in a vase. But I find when you walk by, when you look at it, it just gives you that really nice feeling. So I'm going to cut the roses. I made sure all the stems are off. Now you can dip this in the alum too. I think anything with a woody stem. So I'm going to put it at the side. It is a little bit harder to design without floral foam because you're not sticking it in, but I am trying to not use it and try to find different ways to design. So I'll put it up. So I want to cut them at different lengths. I'm going to have another one coming up a little bit higher, just so they're not all sitting at the same length. So I also cut these on an angle. Another one. I just take off the leaves, and if there's any thorns, just remove the thorns and make this a little bit higher. I always like to work, well, the hydrangea, I don't think maybe I will put in the one sort of in odd numbers. It's just like when you garden, you usually put 3 or 5. I sort of like to do that when I'm designing too. So I'm going to make this one even longer. And if your roses aren't quite opened enough and you want them a bit more open, you can just blow on them. Or some people get like just a light setting of their hair dryer and just open them up, like if you really need them open for a special occasion. So there. So I have my hydrangeas and my roses in. So now I'm going to put my tulips. So these are a little different yellow. I just thought it just looked bright and cheery. And one thing with tulips you have to remember is that tulips they're only cut flower that will keep growing. So whatever you cut them to the next morning, you'll probably find they're higher than they were before. So I'm going to cut them at all different lengths. And I could always recut tomorrow if I find that they're too long. And the other thing, if you don't have pussy willow, you could use waterproof tape. They have the clear or the green, and you could do it as a grid, which I did in a previous video that shows you how to make the grid. So that also works. Let's put these in here. It already looks nice and springy, makes you feel good. I really enjoy the bark of this container. So whatever colors that you like, you can find usually in your grocery stores. And I've used hyacinths. I love hyacinths. The smell of hyacinths really makes you feel good. And remember, these tulips will come up higher. So by tomorrow. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put one more, I'm going to put another rose. These roses are so beautiful. I'll just put it in here. Remember to do different heights, just so it looks more interesting. I think I'll put one more in the corner. And they'll just help hold each other up. So the roses are helping the tulips. Oops. Here. And then I'll get a hydrangea. And you can always take some of these off and put them in a smaller container. That's what I usually do if I want to make the hydrangea a bit smaller. I'll just put a bunch of these together, and then I have just a small little glass containers I'll put them in. If I have any other flowers, I can stick them in with them. It's great. So then you can put them in the bathroom, you can put them in the kitchen. You have flowers everywhere, which is nice. And then I'll get my alum and just put that in here. And just rearranging that a little bit. Just make sure the tulips are in a nice spot. And I think I'll get one more rose. Oops. And just take the leaves off. Nice cut. And remember, you never want to have any greenery in the water because that will contaminate the water. So you always want to make sure you remove everything anything that's below the vase level, so it doesn't contaminate the water because it'll last longer. So there you go. And these, remember the tulips will come up a little bit higher, and you can just rearrange what you don't like it where they're sitting. And then you might have to cut the tulips in a day or two if they get too long. So enjoy. I hope you like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. And if you subscribe to my channel, you get notified of any new videos I'm coming up with. So have a great day. Buy yourself some flowers, and I'll see you next time.